How do you mean?
So, for example, if you can boot the system with some solid-state drive or something, right, instead of fixing it, right, that still can be a stateless system as well as host profiles.
Host profiles doesn't necessarily mean stateless. That's a great point. I should have mentioned that. Host profiles does not necessarily mean stateless. Thank you. Because you can still use the host profile engine. You do use the host profile engine today without stateless. It's that this mechanism also works in a stateless deployment. So if you want to do your configuration management and you want to be able to use host profiles but you don't want to PXE boot, you can still do host profiles without it. It's just that it's not stateless, right? Because the state comes from the PXE server in this architecture. Okay. All right. So when do you want to make a plugin? You want to make it when you're booting that up, booting the host up. You've got that host profile chunk of data, and which is also a set of policies, and you want to interpret that and emit host-specific parameters or parameters that may be important to your piece of code. A good example might be licensing compliance, right? So if you have some parameter that you need to emit some license file or something when you first boot up the host, you can do that using a host profile plugin. So you'll be able to programmatically interpret a host profile, which will have policies that are set by the vCenter administrator, and then generate those parameters. Host profile plugins are written in Python, but they can turn around and invoke ESXCLI, which means that if you write an ESXCLI plugin, you can do more advanced stuff, right? So even though you're writing in Python, if you need to talk to some specialized piece of hardware that's in this data center, you can do that by invoking ESXCLI. And again, this is useful for configuring the host for partner-specific applications. How do you do this? Well, we're going to provide a host profile plugin development kit. It'll have packaging tools. It won't have a compiler because you'll be providing Python